So I was months away from signing to swim for North Carolina, and one day I woke up and that reality was stripped from me immediately. Hi, my name is Greer Pattison, and this is my story. I'm a junior here at Carolina, and I'm a swimmer on the Swim and Dive team, and I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. Back in June of 2020, I was on a family vacation. We were staying with family friends in California. We were playing in the ocean, and I'd come back from body surfing and everything and noticed I was, pretty cold, and my mom took my temperature and turns out I had a fever. Went to the doctor and it ended up being some antiviral thing just running through my body at the time. The next day, July 5th, I woke up that Sunday and I felt this kind of numbness in my toes and the back of my neck and my shoulders, my traps and my lower back were just kind of sore, and I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. Ended up spreading to my hands. We ended up going to the doctor the next day, that Monday, just to kind of see what was going on, and they were like, oh, it's nothing, you're fine, it's all good. Progressively, each day kind of got worse. I woke up that Tuesday and my lower back was in a lot of pain. It started to become painful to just get up out of bed in the morning and start to walk, and the numbness had spread to my arms and kind of up my legs. And the numbness is, you can feel it, but it's just not really there. It's like pins and needles that are kind of there. Tuesday, they did a spinal tap to test my glucose levels. The glucose levels are fine. Doctor was like, you're good, just go back home and everything. Wednesday, we woke up and my eyesight had gotten blurry and I had perfect vision. So I was like, okay, this is a little weird. The numbness had started to spread throughout my whole body. It had become really difficult to walk. It was hard to even get my arm behind me and brush my hair and everything. And it was really painful for me to just sit and exist. And I was laying in bed all day. Lower back had hurt, numbness had spread, and MRI appeared with nothing. There was nothing there. Well, they were only putting me on ibuprofen and everything, and my parents were obviously super stressed. They had no idea what was going on with me. I had no idea what was going on. Went back home that night and woke up the next morning. Things had just gotten progressively worse, so we called our pediatrician. She's like, you need to admit her right away. Went into the ER at Phoenix Children's, saw a neurologist that day. They tested everything, and by this point, it had become difficult for me to walk on my own. I was having to have someone assist me get out of bed, walk me to the bathroom, help with all the basic stuff that you don't really think about. And by this point, things had actually progressed to my face, so I was having difficulty. I couldn't close my eyes at night to go to bed, couldn't eat normally. I was having trouble talking because my lips couldn't move, and I just couldn't feel anything. There was nothing I could do to control it. I was still on ibuprofen, just basic meds to help with pain and pain relief and stuff. And that night I went to the bathroom to go brush my teeth, and I remember sitting at the sink brushing my teeth, and I had the feeling that I was gonna pass out. So I called my dad in, and he, perfect timing, caught me right before I had honestly collapsed to the ground because I couldn't stand and I just got super lightheaded. He carried me to bed, and my parents had to stay with me overnight. That Saturday, we ended up getting transferred to Mayo Clinic. We had waited so many hours to get all the papers figured out, and the neurologist right away did another spinal tap to check my glucose levels to see if it was Guillain-Barré, because all the symptoms were lining up. Guillain-Barré is an autoimmune disorder. It's when your immune system just honestly attacks your own self. There's nothing you can do. It's one in 100,000 people get it. It's super rare. Did a spinal tap right away, neurologist was like, you have Guillain-Barré. The doctor and neurologist told me that my myelin sheath on your nerve just wasn't firing. That was where the lack of the numbness and that all sort of thing that I felt, that was where that was coming from. One day I was laying in bed and I got this call from an unknown number, and it was a former Olympian, Roddy Gaines, and he had left me a voicemail leaving me with words of encouragement and understanding that he had actually gone through the exact same thing, and there were other Olympians, current Olympians, who had also experienced it. And he just made me feel so loved and so supported in the way that he said I was a part of this special group now. Getting that call from him I thought was so cool, and to feel so heard and seen from someone who was so high up in the swimming world was just really life-changing. Guillain-Barré also affects your respiratory system, so they were constantly having me test to see if my breathing was okay. The doctor said that that was totally fine because I was a swimmer and I had built up such a tolerance for breathing and that sort of thing underwater, which was good, so that kind of worked out. But I also had a nerve conduction study done, and that was really painful. they kind of attach the electrodes to your skin just to kind of see where the nerves aren't firing. I had to touch my face, legs, everywhere just to kind of see what exactly was going on. And then went through physical therapy and everything, and I was supposed to be in the rehab facility for 2 weeks. I actually only ended up staying for a week because it had progressed so well, which was awesome. We chose a rehab facility that also had a pool, so I was able to swim and get in the water and get intact. At that facility, one thing that kind of stood out to me was I was the youngest in there by probably like 30 years. Like everyone in there was a lot older than I was, and Guillain-Barré actually ends up affecting people like in their 30s, like a lot later on, so I was one of the younger cases. Ended up starting on a walker and having to have, the grippy socks in the hospital and everything to make sure I wasn't falling on my own. Progressed so well that I got out of rehab within a week. The only thing that still stayed with me was that my face, I don't think ended up healing until December of that year, and I had gotten out of rehab in the beginning of August, so that was something that I was constantly dealing with. This was going into my senior year of high school. I committed to swim at North Carolina the previous December, but in regards to swimming and committing and everything, I was supposed to sign in November of that year. So I was a little worried going into it, and we actually ended up having to call my coaches after I had gotten back home and gotten through rehab and everything, and just give them a heads up of everything that was going on, and told them the whole thing, and they were just like honestly in shock. They were just like, oh my goodness, so sorry that you went through this, but like just so you know, this changes nothing on our end, like doesn't affect scholarship, doesn't affect how we feel about you, your potential as a swimmer, and an impact on our program moving forward, which was really reassuring to hear given I was moving across the country to go to school and I was leaving my family in a year, and I had gone through this life-changing experience, and coaches were just like, let us know if there's anything we can do, like we're here to help, we're here to support you, like you're already one of us, all this thing. So that was really reassuring. I have never like broken a bone as a kid, never sprained an ankle, like nothing serious has ever happened to me. Emotionally, it was a lot to take on because there was a lot of confusion, especially in the beginning. A lot of it was just like, why me? What did I do? How did this happen? It was just a lot of unknowns, especially with the doctors not being able to help me in the first place at Phoenix Children's. That was really difficult because doctors are typically people who you trust in the first place. Mentally moving forward, I think the biggest thing that I took away from this was you seriously cannot take anything for granted. Like, I'm grateful to be here at this amazing university, to be swimming, to be with my friends, have a supportive family and everything. When you're healthy, like you don't even realize how grateful you are to be healthy. You just can't take anything for granted. I can brush my teeth every day, I can wake up, I don't need someone to help me, I don't need someone to monitor me when I sleep or make sure that I'm okay to walk to the bathroom. So moving forward, it totally changed my perspective on life. Since then, I forget all the time that I've even had this sort of thing because it hasn't ever stopped me in the pool, it hasn't stopped me in school and learning and social and that sort of thing. Since everything, I've been actually like really successful in the pool, and I've been able to accomplish honestly every goal that I've set forth. My freshman year, I was All-American, which was awesome. I was the only individual qualifier for our team as a freshman. For NCAAs, I was on the relays, I set records at the school, and from there, each season I've gotten faster and better and learned more about myself. I think it's obviously helped me shape my mentality moving forward, and to be so grateful that I get to wake up every day and do something that I love. And I've loved this sport since I was 4 years old, but to be able to be here and pursue my goals, and if anything, it's helped me because it's allowed me to have a different perspective on life. If I were to tell someone, just like keep your head up. With something bad, something good happens on the other side, and you just have to kind of keep pushing forward. And if there's goals and dreams and aspirations that you have, they're 100% achievable. No matter what your situation or circumstance, you just kind of have to put your mind to it. You just never know, because you could wake up one day and your whole life could change.